let's look into the Q&A together to see what we have there. Feel free to add questions to the Q&A. So Anak is asking, some questions under question 7 were somehow unclear to me. And also the next question, just answer them together. Is it possible to add some few minutes to question, and I guess step 6, you mean? So for 7, this is a step that you can repeatedly work on, right? So whenever there is anything unclear to you, just reach out to the email I also mentioned before, so support@unconventional.capital. You also find it in the left side menu on the platform. Reach out and we'll figure out how we can help you. Yeah, there will, as I said before, there will always be solutions to problems that you might run into. Is it possible to add some few minutes to question 6? Unfortunately, we can't change the process now, as we already are a month into and received a lot of, like, hundreds of entrepreneurs are working on their applications already. So we can't change any of the time limits or processes yet. But also, if you run into any issues like that, or you feel like there's too few time for any questions, I mean, we really appreciate any feedback you have, because it's our first pilot cohort we are working on now with this process. So yeah, give your feedback and we'll take care of also incorporating that in the future. And whenever we are seeing, you know, if a lot of people don't manage to get this question in time, we'll also incorporate that into the selection process, of course. So don't be afraid of not managing a step in time. Your answers are always saved, and we'll assess it. And if we see there is definitely one step where we had like not enough time, we'll also incorporate that into the final selection funnel. So always appreciate your feedback on that. Do we have any other question, Wambui?
Yes, so there are 2 new ones that have come in. An anonymous attendee asks, what are the general criteria for eligibility? So the criteria is we're investing in early stage businesses with a scalable business model, and you have to have had some revenue traction. You also need to be a local founder located in either Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, or Nigeria, and looking for an investment ticket size of 10,000 to 50,000 USD. In case you would like any clarification on those, please also just write in the question box and we'll get to it. And also, Morris asks, how can I be able to add my co-founder? When I input the email, the continue option would not activate. So Maurice, what you need to do is once you put the email, click enter, and then the button should activate. And yeah.
Maybe to add to that, just to add to that quickly. Maurice, if you already click continue without inviting your co-founder, reach out also to support, and we can manually invite co-founders as well after you already continued, if that would be an issue for you.
One more question that's just come in from Kelvin. He asks, he says, thanks for today. Thank you, Kelvin, for joining. And he asks, will co-founders be able to edit the answers you provide? No, they will not be able to answer the answers you provide. Elias, would you also like to explain a little bit more on the co-founder bit?
Yes, that's also a question we received before. So I think a good point now to explain that. So the co-founder steps are mostly the same. So you will get the same overview, and there are just 2 steps that are only filled by the we call it main founder internally, but it's just the one that started the application, right? So so those people, and you can work on those steps together. So that's step 4, quantitative business overview, and also step 5, which is the company interview. Those are only filled by one founder, but you can, as I said, work on those together, of course. And for the others, you basically have to fill in those steps as well. So just log into the application, and whichever steps are active, those are the ones you need to fill as a co-founder. Step 4 and 5, as I said, are the ones that are filled by the one that started the application.
All right, I think we have time for about 2 more questions. So please, in case you have any questions, feel free to write them. Elias, Rukundo asks, I hope I have pronounced that correctly, are social enterprises allowed to apply?
Yes. So one of our eligibility criteria is scalability. And as Esther said before in the introduction, we also invest through a revenue-based model. That means you have to be in some way profitable and scalable with your business to make that funding model work for you. But that's nothing that social entrepreneurs can't do. So yes, of course, you're very welcome to submit your application.
Okay, final question. Brandy asks, do you have a plan for future follow-up? For instance, if you do not fund some businesses now, do you intend to follow up such businesses for future funding? And I can answer that. Yes, we do intend to follow up. So for instance, if you do not get this investment for this cohort, we will let you know. However, once we open our next cohort, we will send a newsletter and more information to everyone who had joined the waitlist or started the application.